you top-notch, veteran-run podcasts, along with your favorite classic rock music 24/7. Stay tuned for the ultimate radio experience that celebrates our heroes and plays the tunes that never get old. From engaging discussions to timeless hits, this partnership has everything you need for your listening pleasure. Don't miss out on this exciting new chapter in radio history as MB Radio and Patriot Radio come together to rock your world. Get ready.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We've seen war. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our hosts are not considered the official stance of MBR Views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, good morning. MJ here, or is it? Is it MJ? Are you sure? Are we at the world of conscious positivity? Is this MBR radio? Are you in awareness that you can't see my face? Are you in awareness that something's not right? And you're like, what? Wait, what's going on? Awareness. Where does awareness come from? Right here. Right here, our conscious mind. That's where awareness comes from. Awareness is our mind and our ego who tells us, wait, something's not right. But where does awareness come from? That's what we really need to get to. In order for us to be aware in a conscious mind, to turn it to positivity, we need to see exactly where it comes from. And all of you are going, your mind, MJ. No, baby, it doesn't. Your mind is created by our egos and our judgments to make us aware of something not right, or make us aware that we're angry, or make us aware. But are you aware that all of this, all of it, comes from 5 elements? It is the awareness of God's 5 elements that creates the physiologies of us to be. What are they? Does anybody know? Water, air, fire, earth. And of course, we couldn't have it unless you looked up into space and ether, right? 5 elements. If you don't have these 5 elements, the awareness of our egos and our awareness of where we are today can't take place. Can't. Why is that? Because man made the awareness in order for us to find divine conscious positivity in our lives. Now, if man decides in any flavor or any form, that is egos and judgments. And now you're becoming aware of those. Awareness can also mean triggers. What triggers us? Hey, I think my glasses are lappe. What triggers us, right? It's the awareness now, again, of what triggers us. Did you know that when we get triggered, it's our fire element? Yeah. We have a long talk about these 5 elements. And then we're going to come at the end of the show and we are going to talk about what happened this weekend. Another controversy. I love these weekends because it gives me something the last 5 minutes to take what my planned topic is and mold it right into society so that we become, what's today? Aware. I'm going to take a short break. And then when we come back, we're going to dig deep into these 5 elements. And then after that, you'll see me come back on the screen again. So if you're watching, it's okay. If you're not watching, I came in with my hair in front of my face with my glasses if you're not watching. The awareness of the brain and our ego, like, what is this? What is going on? Because you became aware. So if you couldn't see me, I want to explain that. All right, we're going to take a really short break and then we'll be right back. You're watching MBR Radio. I am MJ, cousin it today, this morning. And you're watching and listening to the world of conscious, positive thinking. All right, let's go to break.
Been home about 6 months now, and I still have my doubts. Well, I'm not sure how I got here or how I'm gonna get out. Well, my mama says I look the same as I did before I left. But if she could see inside of me, it would scare her to death. I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, and weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Last Saturday they honored us in a small parade downtown. And when they shot off those fireworks, I nearly hit the ground. And while they smiled and cheered for us, all I could do was stare. 'Cause part of me is here at home, but part of me's back there. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, and weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. They taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Yeah, there's no end in sight. 'Cause even though I'm home now, I'm still fighting for my life. Well, I can still taste the powder from the barrel of my gun, and I can hear my sergeant screaming, "Run, soldier, run!" And I can feel the backpack on my shoulders, God, and weighed a ton. And I see death in every single thought. Well, they taught me how to put that uniform on. I just can't get it off. Well, the devil's won some battles, and he may win some more. But don't he know The American soldier will always win the war.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the
Hey, welcome back. Okay. So if you're watching, there's a screen up. It says what we can learn from the 5 elements. And I did take it from Dr. Kurish Mahahuya, because I found it was so representative of God's creation or the universe creation or whatever you call your divine energy of being: space, earth, fire, water, and air. And it's right there. So why are we going to do this? Because the world's most, I'm going to start with this as the science of healing and medicine goes all the way back thousands of years to Ayurveda. And we have to understand this in order to understand our egos and our judgments and our awareness of why we have egos and judgments. And so I figured with so much turbulence that's going on, what better way is to come back to this lesson. Our elements of life are these 5. They are the building blocks of life, and they're the building blocks of the existence of everything in this planet. A couple of episodes ago, I made the comment, God created the tree, but he didn't create the chair. Or any other thing that you see, look around you. He didn't create a house, he didn't create bread, he didn't create lights, man created it. So as all things man creates, there is error. These 5, there's no error in these 5. There's no errors at all. But what happens is man's egos and man's non-awareness creates damage, water pollution, earth pollution, air pollution, fires destroying. And of course, now we have space debris. So what God created all of us with are physiologies of our body and the trees and the grounds and the rocks and the water. Man's destroying, right? Because man hasn't learned the balance. And it happens. And why? Because it's egos and judgments. Go back to any belief, old patterns. Who created them? Not God. Egos and judgments. And then, let's go to the Christians. The 10 commandments. One of them is thou shalt not judge. Now, why are we judging? Because we don't have the awareness. We don't understand the awareness. And we're going to understand that awareness right now. All these 5 is an Ayurvedic system. It analyzes the human body on the basis of existence with only 5 elements. Knowledge of these elements of life to essential to understanding is the interrelation of the mind, the body, and the spirit. These elements construct a macrosome, which is the universe, and the microsome, which is our inner worlds. Each element functions on the outer world and in our inner body. An imbalance in any of these 5 elements of life can manifest the lack of a harmony within and outside of our systems. Any one of these 5 elements, okay, and we're going to get into them, how within our body we have earth, and I'm going to show you. But these 5, the lack of macro or micro, meaning in or without, or the physiology of our body, we now have issues with that lack of harmony. The fragments of larger cosmoses that are around, we can learn a lot about our inner workings from the mechanisms of the outer, which is that space. Energies that fly within our space. Why do you think there's SpaceX, right? Learning these energies. What does the frequency patterns and supernovas and moons and eclipses do to the physiology of us as humans with these 5 elements? You need to know how they interplay with these elements and to understand themselves. Practices such as pranayama, yoga, meditation, they all create that beautiful balance within ourselves and peace in the outer world. You do not have to sit yoga style on the floor. I hear a lot of excuses why people don't meditate, right? You can sit in a chair and meditate. You can sit, close your eyes, blank out the world, and meditate. Meditation is the form of removing all that clutter within our brain and going silence. Why? Because when we go silence, the only thing left is these 5 elements: space, earth, fire, water, air. That's the only thing left. And guess what? You're right back to being in the perfect balanced form. If you want to do pranayama, if you want to do yoga, then you do that, right? And then you get those practices, because both of those practices are silencing our mind and remembering the 5 elements that we breathe within. Meditation is a practice. Doesn't take any type of skill, but it takes practice to stop the brain, stop the connections of all thoughts and all actions. When we can stop that, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. Remember, I said that. So let's get into these, because you're going to find out now how they play. So let's talk about air first. Air actually means it's our energy of movement. Now, we all know without air, we die, right? Because without the oxygen going in to our physiological bodies, the body can't work, because we need air within the lungs to go into our red blood cells and to oxygenize the heart and all of our skin and so on and so forth. That's how big air plays. Air represents the oxygen, our breath, and lightness. It acts as a medium for clear communication and self-expression. It circulates in both the respiratory and the nervous system. Without air, neither would work. Within the human body, air is responsible for movement and breath. When imbalanced, it manifests high blood pressures, nervous disorders, depression, lung disorders, and muscle pain. That's how important one element, just one element, is. And that element was air. We're going to go down to water. Water is nurturing element of life. What is the nurturing element of life? Well, water protects our bodies. We also know that if we don't drink water, right, our body dehydrates, and that's no good, because we're 70% water. So at 70% water, we now have to become water conscious of all bodies of water, because we must be in the ebb and flow. If we have a dam that blocks water, what happens? It's not good, right? Because now, if you block it, it doesn't get through. There's no flow. So we have to make sure that we are in constant flow with water, because we're 70% water. Water is a nurturing element of life. Water protects the body. It's also a healing essence that cleans our mind, body, and soul. Baptisms are water, right? Think about it. Where'd water come from? Water, alloquin, water consciousness. It's the flow of keeping memory for the natives. Water is also our resource to increase any detoxification for our body. That defines the element of flow and adapts, and it binds all substances. It's also associated with our tongue, our joints, our stomach, our saliva, and respiratory system. It formulates all bodily fluids, such as our saliva, our sweat, our blood, our urine, and our semen. So water, God made water. And look how we need water, right? So now we got air and we got water. Now we have fire. Fire is the element of change. Fire is probably one of the most needed, but people don't realize it. Fire elements acts as a toxin to impurity burning. It's related to metabolism and creativity. You hear us talking about the Shakti energy, the female Shakti. Well, the female Shakti energy is fire energy. It lights a fire from your feet and it comes straight up the body, right into the core. Shakti is fire. It's in addition to that, fire represents our heat and our power. Without it, we would freeze. Without it, we wouldn't be able to see at night. It drives our needs such as hunger, sleep, and thirst. That is the element of fire. Excessive fire in a body can manifest anger and hatred. And right there is your PTSD. See how that worked? Fire. Imbalancing of that fire element can manifest all kinds of illnesses as well. Because once we go down that rabbit hole, we're in it. So a huge imbalance of that, illnesses such as colds or fevers, skin diseases, diabetes, mental disorders. Mother Fire governs the philosophy, MJ speak today, the physiology of digestion, metabolism, and segregation. Fire. Wow. What an important element fire is, huh? So now we just did air, water, and fire. And right now you're probably going, wow, wait, do I really understand or don't I understand? Where am I going with this? I don't know if you understand, but you know what? You're listening to MJ with the World of Conscious Positivity, and you're right here on MBR, and we're going to be right back. I'm going to go ahead and take a really quick break, and we're going to do the other two. So stay with me. Let's go to LT Tactical, one of our sponsors.
Introducing LT Defense Tactical Gear, your ultimate solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield. Introducing
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back to MBR Radio. And I know we're listening to Roku and Amazon Fire Stick, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and woof. I don't know. I'm sure we're missing a few. There is so many new platforms. It's awesome here. So we're talking about the 5 elements, because we can't heal our body without understanding the elements that we were made by universal energy of God to create who we are, how we speak, and what we are aware of. Okay. So we're at Earth. So this is where we left off today, at Earth. Earth is our structural element of life. It helps in grounding oneself, and it induces calmness. So the fire was ripping shit up, right? Getting rid of it, burning the toxins down. And now you come back to Earth. Earth says, ground in and remain calm. Sit within, breathe within, let the waters of Earth. And it's going to heal that the fire toxins took away. It's going to heal those wounds. It's considered the most grounding element of life is earth. It controls our sense of smell. It regulates our energy of our bones and muscles. It forms all solid structures in a body. So think of earth with trees, right? With our trees that God made on earth, those trees then by man were made into, you got it, the chair. Earth in our physical body sense, right? It regulates the energies of our bones and muscles. Now, what does that sound like? The trunk of a tree? The bark of a tree? Do you see how it came right back? Balance. It's all about balancing our body. And if we can understand why these 5 elements are so important, now we got to our blood, we got to our lungs, we got to our bones that hold us up. The physiology of our bones, our earth holding us up. It is the solid structure of the body, hence the trunk of the tree, right? Why do you people think, look at my logo, that beautiful, beautiful tree. It's showing the body in the tree. That's, everyone wants to know about the logo. The roots ground me into earth. The body is my trunk. It's my bones. It's my skin, that bark. And then the divine energy comes out like the trees. Well, guess what? Earth right there, element states that we are all products of God's creation. Anything that needs oxygen, water, fire, earth, and space to live is part of God's creation, right? So trees, plants, grass, obviously water, and air. That's what God made. God made our feet, our physiological body, our physical bodies. But he didn't create the adversity of egos and judgments. He didn't create that. That was man's greed and conditioning. And that's not one of those 5 elements. Now, is it? Do you see any of that? We haven't gotten to space yet, but I'm going to guarantee you something. It's not going to be there. So we're going to go back to earth and finish that one out. Imbalance in the earth element can cause high cholesterol, weakness in the body, weight gain or loss, and muscular and bone pain. How amazing is that? Bone pain. It goes right back, right? Here we go back again. Now let's move to space. Some people call it the ether. That's the 5th element. When you look up, that's part of us, right? That universe. Why? That ether area is important because we get our sun from there. We get different chemicals that come down into our earth from there. Space is the spiritual element of life. If you believe in God, then you believe in space and ether. Bottom line, which is if you look at this beautiful thing that Dr. Karish did, it's a triangle. Look how he put that Ayurvedic of 7,000 years in that triangle. Look at it. The trilogy, Father, Mother, God, all in the 3s, right? And space is at the top because space is our spiritual element of life. Without faith, you go nowhere. You constantly get in damnations. You constantly go in circles. It represents the empty spaces in our body as well. It is the element that other elements derive from and return to. It's omnipresent and the element that holds that other 5 elements of life within. Our ears and our mouth are the 2 parts that are very connected to space because it only can hold the frequency in order to ornate with it. So the higher within your frequency is the more that you watch your tones and your words, and then your egos and judgments gets placed on hold. Do you understand how that now works? Egos and judgments, awareness, thou shalt not judge. Ha! I cannot wait to the end of this with what happened this weekend. Got some learning to do. Back to space. Wisdom and intuition are deeply connected to ether. An imbalance in ether element manifests in throat pain, in speech problems, epilepsy, ear disease, and thyroid disorders. Well, holy Hannah, who the heck does that sound like? Space, the spiritual element of life. The more you climb is the more that your body can possibly break down. Why? Because your body is associated with the 5 elements. The 5 elements creates a space within our body. Our body is our soul. Our soul represents reincarnate, ash to ash, dust to dust. We come in and we go out. The body is a physical form, not to be grieving or sorrowful for. The soul is what people attract themselves to. When we allow the pressures of other negative thought processes, our body physically breaks down. So as you listen to this, and I gave you a few of the ailments, if these are part of that ailment, then get to earth or get to fire or get to air or get to space. Clean your act with God's 5 elements to heal. That's what this says. It's all right there. It's allowing you to heal and to understand why God created 5 elements or the universe energy or whatever it is that you call your highest being's name. We are all one. Nobody is isolated. No religion is better than another. So for everybody who wants to clout religions of being very verbal about religions, it is made by man. It wasn't made to stand behind a statue, a steeple, or a book. It was made for you to render by another man's interpretation of the essence of the energy of love and balance. Isn't that funny? 5 elements that create the beginning of our world by our Creator. But yet, nobody is satisfied because they haven't figured out that awareness of that balance. And then debacles happen because of greed. Then more debacles happen because of judgment. Who's better than who? How dare you do that? Well, if you're offended or you're angry, we talked about this before, you become aware of what triggered you. And now we can take it one step further. What just triggered you? What element basis did that trigger? Where was it? Learn the 5 elements, and then you'll learn your triggers because you'll step within them. And when we step within them, now we have our mind, famous saying, if you didn't die, then you're going to learn, right? And if you didn't die then, talking about it now, you're still not going to die. Is it painful and harmful? Yes, but that's your ego. That is somebody else's version of why you don't want to talk about it. Guilt, depression, anger, all of those. If you are angry at any given moment, any given time, that means heal yourself. And we're human. I tap it all the time. You heard me get angry on some of my things. I'm like, wow, I got to tap out of that because that's the awareness. And when you can become aware, and you can become of what element that you became aware in, we're good. Because now we get to fix it. Oh, I guess I need to go out to the water, right? Go fishing, go canoeing, go boating, go swimming, go to the water, rinse it. How bad is the disease or how bad is the people around you? How's the toxicity? Well, start that fire within, right? Go exercise. That's the fire within that you can create. Start a fire on the outside. So now you have a fire on the outside and you're riding a treadmill or a trampoline or whatever you're doing on the inside to create that metabolism fire within. Dance in a circle. Walk in a circle. Go for a nature walk. Now you're creating 3 elements: air, earth, fire. Now you're getting to where you're healing. Do you get it? It's not just. You can't just say just. Remember we talked about those words. Just ain't there. Just don't do it. Do what you need to do. Get back in these elements, and you'll be able to heal your body a lot quicker because you're aware of what element you're lacking. If God created us with these 5 elements and he created air, why aren't we following God? Why aren't we following universal energy, our creator, Father, Mother, God? Why aren't we following the 5 elements? That's where it starts. If we don't even know how the 5 elements of creation started, how are we fixing us? That just doesn't work. Never has, never will. You're just blowing smoke and you're repeating others. You're just out there repeating opinions of man and man and man and boy. And here we go. We have laws and we have restrictions, and oh, that's not politically correct, or that's not morally correct, or that's not. Come on. That is damnation. That is judgment. That's one of the dang freaking commandments that the Christians always want to preach the Bible. But how come you're full of judgment then? Stop preaching if you're not going to follow. Easier said than done. Yep, MJ, I get it. Oh, I get it. I get it. I lose my temper, especially when I get with people who are so wrong and strong. And then you just have to breathe. Follow your elements. I go ground myself. I breathe. I take a drink of water. I blank my brain. I step back, tap my thymus. See, this is everything that we need to do. And once we do it, we're good, because then we can come back. Or the other thing you can do is, go in the salt cave. So we're going to take a break. We're going to go back into the salt cave. And then when we come back, we'll have some more discussions about this weekend. So stand by. We're going to do Once Was by Logan. It's a nice, beautiful song. And then we'll go into the salt cave, and then we'll come back. Step by.
Consequence, so wonderful to see you again. You've not shown your face around here since the last time I was in too deep. Now I've been struggling to sleep, and I have to blame that on what I have created. Always with women or drinks, some repetition of things, and that's a tired old cliche, but that does not mean that it ain't the truth. 'Cause I've been absent from you, and I've never felt less careful. Need my father, my mother, even my brother to say, you gotta get your act together. Do not rewrite the days. You can still be productive, without all the hate. Just need to remember who you once were. And I once was quick on the draw, and I once did admit all my flaws. I once was an honest man, and I held your hand when you had to bed. And I once was fresh like the sand. My head moved steady, honey, so did my hands. I once was blessed and true till the day that I lost you. Goodbye meaning, I've been searching too hard to find you now. Like a bone in the yard, and I'll keep digging, but only when I have the time. 'Cause this world's been moving quickly, too much rhythm and rhyme, and sometimes you just gotta do what makes you feel good. And remember all those nights that you still understood how to be free, how to answer to no one, how to trust like a lover, how to lie like a son. You say this world has got you down, well, honey, welcome to the club. I can hardly save enough money to go and see those I love, and we've all but found it, but we're still out of touch. I know we've lost hope of it, baby, but I hope not too much, because we once were thicker than thieves, and we once were so much easier to please, and we once were alive on the tracks. We just came down, you know, I had your back. We once were younger than now, and we once were all still just plotting it out. We once ran circles round squares just for fun. We were louder then before we gave up.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Hey, we're back. And we were talking about the 5 elements. Those who can see, I'm going to leave it up here before I come back into me. There's space, fire, air, earth, water. Let me get that banner off of there and you'll be able to see it. There it is. If you're not on there, you just heard me call them out. We talked about space and we talked about the importance of fire and how we can heal through earth, and knowing that the water is supplementing in the flow of all that is conscious, and the air quality that we breathe, right? Gives us the oxygen to support a lot of the physiologies of our body. So this past weekend, I don't watch TV, as many of you know. I watch reruns of Big Bang Theory because, believe it or not, quantum physics and Sheldon Cooper correlate with 369 light code, or the energies of our universal God, believe it or not. It is such a beautiful balance if you think about it. We talk about quantum physics and quantum theories and quantum energies, and we're using quantum energies to heal our body. So awareness was, I had a lot of people talk to me on Friday about the opening ceremony. That was then controversy on Saturday, and still controversy on Sunday, and still talked about this morning. And I'm laughing. And I know there are some very hurt religional folks out there. But I want to put it in perspective with the balance and the awareness of these elements. First of all, France. If you've never been to France or you don't know anything about France, let's be aware of what France represents. France represents free speech, free artisan, free action, free movement, right? They're freer pretty much more than the United States of America right now. right? They're not a socialist. Just saying. People can laugh and they can pick, but when it hits them, they get very emotional, right? Judgmental, right? You hurt my feelings. It wasn't politically correct. It wasn't morally correct. But was it? Was it? People didn't say that about Hamilton. Or did they? Huh? We put a show on called Hamilton of our forefathers. Our forefathers. And it was mocked numerous times, over and over again. Every sitcom you could imagine, mocked. Okay, so now we have our forefathers being mocked. There was no upheaval. People just kind of said, I didn't care for it. It wasn't in good taste. And they walked away. But this opening ceremony this weekend is like huge. Why? It's Leonardo da Vinci painted his interpretation. His interpretation. You're going to tell me that the people sat like that? You really think they sat? Or did you think they actually sat at a table on 6 on each side? Well, none of you were there, so don't even start judging it, because thou shalt not judge. I'm just giving a plausible example. Somebody asked me how I felt. I said I have no feeling towards it, because I don't have a feeling towards any religion. I feel we are all brothers and sisters. I feel that organized religions are physical. I feel denominational religions are spiritual. If you want to connect to God and you want to connect to the highest source, you do not need a religional practice. What you need is your mind, body, and soul to balance with the 5 elements. See the triangle, mind, body, soul. On the top of the 5 elements, I left that beautiful picture there. See that? Back again. And if you actually look at those leaves on the side of that picture, it almost looks like our DNA, doesn't it? It's funny. I got also that people said they made a mockery out of it because of transgender. I said, that's what you took out of that? Transgender? LBGQ? That's what you took? So I'm going to ask those who are upset with the mockery, do you think that we mock? I came in with my hair like that. There are people who are born with hair all over their body and look like that. Would you mock them? Or would you feel sorry for them? You became aware of something's not right. That's not a face. Why? Because you're conditioned to see a face. You're conditioned by man to see a face. Your conditioned mechanisms that are in balance of the 5 elements is why you're angry in all reality. It's not because of an artistic expression of what they have done. That's France. Don't like it? Well, then we shouldn't have picked France as an Olympic center, right? You don't like big drums? Well, why you pick the Asians with the big drums in Japan? Everybody has their own version of awareness and their own version of acting and their own version of being. And it all comes from an imbalance, or it all comes from egos and judgments. Leonardo da Vinci did not paint that in 5 minutes. And you cannot tell me that they held that position for that painting all that time. And there was no cameras back then, so stop that. So it was his interpretation of the picture. So it was France's interpretation of what they did. Yes, there can be a lot of catalyst lessons of that, which maybe divine intervened and said, hey, let's shake this up a little bit. Let's see where people really stand, being humbled. being without ego, being without judgment. Because if, to me, my Father, Mother, God doesn't act like that. I saw it. My Father, Mother, God is divine. My Father, Mother, God is beautiful. Whatever humans do on the outside, that's on humans. That's ego, that's judgment, and become aware of it. Become aware that if you're allowing things to bother you, then you need healing. Why would you ever let that bother you? Let them have their karma. Let them have that recourse. Why do you take that on? We create energy that creates anger, creates hatred, creates volatile, putrid words, actions, motions. And then they went, oh my God, somebody got shot. Really? So you want to argue and you want to puff out your chest and you want to be angry at somebody else's artistic expression, and you couldn't get over your anger long enough to understand that's on them. So if you're that angry, and I've seen it, I'm not watching the Olympics. Really? Your ego's that freaking buoyant that now you're not going to watch the Olympics, and your freaking brothers and sisters of the United States worked their ass off for 20, 30 years, and now you're not going to watch it because they didn't have a choice of that. Come on, folks. What are we talking about here? Seriously, are we talking I don't know. Thanks, Joel. Joel posted it. If it goes on the comments, you can see. I don't even know how you say that word. Le Parisien of French. It's the culture. My interpretation is it's an expression. My interpretation is not of anger. My interpretation and my awareness is that's how maybe they saw it. They see it. If I was born a hermaphrodite, would you judge me? Or would you say God made a mistake? How dare anybody say, Father, Mother, God made a mistake? If I was born in a masculine body, but feminine features, did God make a mistake? If I was born with hair all over my body, you couldn't see my face, was that God's mistake? If I was born with two heads, is that another of God's mistakes? How about you became aware that God created a lot of different beings, a lot of different species. Father, Mother, God, our Creator, created all of that. And for that, who is any of you to judge God? Whether you're Christian, which is the youngest of all religions, we don't even talk about the oldest religion, which is Zoroastrianism, which is the base of all religions. So where's the ego? Where does it come from? It's implanted by man. If you work with me or live with me or you pal around with me long enough, every time I see a debacle at red lights because they don't work, I'm like, man again. Man created that again. So think of it that way. Put humor in your life. And no, God didn't create that. Now, if I got a flat tire, I'll say, thank you, God. Because I missed something. So you flip the pattern, right? Because I am that I am. And that's that Christ light that's in all of us. To represent man who walks the earth can be beautiful, balanced, positive in a conscious format. If you become aware of the 5 elements that create you. And earth that created it. That's why I'm not any denomination. I love them all, Also this weekend, there was a lot about Kamala. Kamala is now being demonized as a Hindu god, Kamala. And they twisted the Hindu faith. But nobody cares about that, right? Well, it's Hindu. Judgment again. Awareness. Why? Why is there so much of that? I can't even begin to explain any of that, of why. I'm looking here to see. Oh, yes. Oh, good. Joel posted it all over. Thank you so much. Okay, so he's posted so you can see, if you didn't, the French culture, and it explains about the opening. So I want you to think about it. I do. And I know your feelings can get hurt, right? Words, tones, actions. It hurts us. But if it hurts us, that just means we're not healed somewhere. Somewhere there's something that is so seated within us that is shaking our timbers. And when that happens, we need to heal that. Because who cares what anybody else sees or does? It's what you do. Archangel Gabriel's not going to blow that horn, babies, and just say, okay, right? Everybody gets that horn blow. But Father, Mother, God has the last word. We all know that. It's in everything. It's in Sikh. It's in Taoism, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Catholicism, Christianity. It's in all of it. Judgment Day, final day, but we are not to judge it. We are mere humans in a body that has a soul to go back to our Father, Mother, God, to go back and say, this is what we didn't heal, or this is what we healed. Like, am I allowed to come back to heal the rest of this? So then I could be a beautiful angel and not come back ever? Maybe this is our hell, right? But that was man's interpretation of the Bible too. Rendering that hell is the core of our earth. Mother Earth, and Jerusalem is like, wait a minute, right? Same thing. Same thing. I didn't want the awareness to be part of a Christian thing or a part of a religion, because I believe that all religions and all practices of denominations have a balance in this earth, have a balance in their right, but not one is better than the other. And you'll always hear me say that. And when you start to preach that one is better than the other, you're not balanced. You think you are. You think you're healed, but you're not, because you didn't use the 5 elements. And if you use the 5 elements, that space and that ether, that spiritual life would exist to say, okay, Father, Mother, God, I'm opening up my mind, power, faith center, because I'm connecting with you through my crown, right? Through the top of my head, and my intuitiveness declares that you gave me of angelic gifts. That's where it's at. But by judgment, what a huge catalyst France became for the world to heal. I'm going to say thank you, France. Thank you. I'm helping you to heal these people who think there's some type of imbalance and nobody can have the freedom of right to speak, to act, or to do. You're allowed to. Whose consequence? Back on them. But if you submit the energy and you have that energy and you're angry with it, now it's back to you to heal. And that's where it becomes just, not good. So that's my awareness. I hope that you could understand some of that. I hope that it resonates with some of you. And I really, really hope that in the end, you can understand and justify everything that happened this weekend, or is happening as an awareness and trigger, or it's happening on the whole. I'm MJ. You're listening to MBR Radio, and we are all over the internet and web. New to us is Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. Check us out. I'll see you next Monday at 10 a.m. I hope I see you then. Have a beautiful week, folks.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's MikeBravoRadio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice. That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening.